Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. You're listening to our Dungeons and Dragons game. As always, I'm your host, the Dungeon Master, or DM for short, and we are doing part two of an adventure where the PCs find a spaceship, which is pretty rare in Dungeons and Dragons. So at any rate, if you haven't seen part one, go check that out. I'll put a link below. You want to watch that first, or this might not make as much sense as you'd like it to. So without any further ado, let's dive right into part two of the Barrier Peaks. So the prologue is that the party took a long rest in the security office where they defeated the police robot. They searched the office, finding grenades, ammo for blaster pistols, etc. Then we get on to the plot of the game. The PCs go to Area 10, which is a hallway, where they encounter a female human android. She basically looks like a life-size version of Barbie with blonde hair and blue eyes. When Arthur first encountered her years ago, she was damaged and she attacked the party he was in at the time. Now, though, she is repaired and fully operational. She recognizes Arthur and welcomes him back to the ship. Arthur thanks her and refers to her as Eve. She asks if John is with him. Arthur is sad. John was a male android who had joined his party back then, but was later slain by a sea monster. And John's remains were placed in a cave next to a beautiful beach by a beautiful ocean. And they buried John as if he were human. So Eve asks where John is now. And Arthur tells her that the last time he saw John, he was by a beautiful beach by the ocean. And Eve accepts this without any further questions. Instead, she asks if there's anything she can do now to assist this party. So they can't think of anything in the moment, but she follows them around for the remainder of the adventure, explaining what various items are in a language that she thinks the PCs might understand. Because of course, almost everybody here is a fantasy character. Arthur is the only one from Earth. He's the only one who is at all familiar with modern technology. So at any rate, from there, the PCs search Area 11, and Eve explains that this used to be the communications room, but it has been gutted by squatters and random adventurers that would come in here and loot the ship, trying to find things they thought might be worthwhile. From there, they go to Area 12, where the Air Maiden searches through some debris on the floor and finds a blaster pistol. She loads it with the ammo that she found earlier in the security room, and she discovers that one battery will allow it to fire 6 times. And Arthur kind of gives her a quick tutorial on how to use it. Room 13 is flooded with radiation, so Eve detects this and cautions the PCs not to enter. The beholder, Bart, ponders if radiation is a kind of magic, and therefore could his anti-magic ray get rid of radiation? And a lot of you are going to hear that and think, no, that's stupid. But in classic Spelljammer, there is a radioactive golem. And in its description, radiation is referred to as quote unquote death magic. So the beholder might actually be onto something there. Spelljammer kind of suggests that any sufficiently advanced technology would be indistinguishable from magic. Spelljammer actually raises the question if anything in D&D is truly magic, or are things not what everybody thinks they are. We'll come back to that idea later. Area 14 looks like the wide open area where the PCs entered the ship, except instead of being at the south end, this is at the furthest east end of the ship. Here they encounter 5 displacer beasts. Bart the Beholder uses his anti-magic ray on them, which neutralizes their ability to make it look like they are off to the side of their actual location. Grabthar uses chain lightning, and everyone else takes turns finishing them off. Arthur's new shield device is a Black Panther. Once activated, the huge cat fights the displacer beasts, which it reacts to them like they are its evil twins since they look so much alike. Eliza the Air Maiden says, "Good kitty," when the Clockwork Panther helps the party. In Area 15, they find a helpful female android that looks exactly like Eve. She is also fully functional and offers to help cure anything wrong with the party. None of them need any healing, though, so they declined her kind offer. She tells them if they change their mind, that she'll be waiting. Then they go to Area 16, which is the room next door, where they encounter a male android who looks exactly like John did. This android is malfunctioning, and it thinks the Beholder is a human with some sort of catastrophic birth defect, so it offers to surgically remove its extra eyes. Likewise, it wants to amputate the Air Maiden's wings. This android attacks the party, and it actually manages to knock out Bart with anesthetic. Grabthar uses his hammer and smashes the robot's head. They roll the Beholder back to where that nurse robot was, and she helps him recover and get back to full health again. From there, the PCs go to Area 31. These rooms were special research facilities for biological, biochemical, and chemical projects related to various life forms. The last time Arthur was here, he used a cloning machine that worked like a 3D printer. Using it, he made a clone of Merlin from Camelot. So Arthur is, how do I want to put it? It's like that scene in RoboCop where RoboCop goes to his old house and he's kind of like having flashbacks and he's just sort of like lost in thought. Very similar stuff there with Arthur. He doesn't actually tell anybody else what he's thinking or feeling. He's not paying attention to anything else. He's stuck in the past, right? In Area 31A, the PCs encounter a small robot that is still trying to cure the russet mold spores that turned the ship's crew into zombie-like vegapygmies. When it sees the PCs, it asks them for the appropriate credentials, but they don't have a yellow card on them, which is what would have made this robot think that they belong here. So as a result, it summons 3 more of the police robots. Grabthar hits them all with lightning, including the one that was trying to cure the russet mold spores. So all of the robots are destroyed now, including the little robot, which was actually doing something helpful. Then we get into the epilogue. Eliza the Air Maiden enters the adjoining section of the lab where everything seems to be rusty. But as it turns out, this is not rust at all. It's that brown colored mold. Not only now is Eliza covered in the brown mold, turning her into a vegapygmy, but all of the equipment and treasure that she was carrying is now also contaminated with russet mold spores. The other PCs look on as in horror as their teammate is assimilated. And that's, of course, what the art here is supposed to represent. I put it into the AI, and it's supposed to be her chest armor is starting to get moldy. Her wings are turning brown because they're starting to get moldy. That is supposed to be what this is a picture of that I'm using this week. At any rate, that was it. when my wife's character got assimilated, she was like, I'm done. Like, I'm just done for the day. So we thought that was a good point to stop the game. I'm not sure when we'll play again. But as always, when we do, I'll tell you what happened. So thanks for listening to this one. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, smash that like button, hit subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. Leave us a comment if you've ever played the Barrier Peak stuff. I'd love to hear how it went. And until next time, take care. Bye.